I want to talk about my favorite scene in all of Doctor Who, but obviously I need to get some context for it, so let's start there first. The Curse of Fenric is the penultimate serial of the classic run of Doctor Who, preceding the final episode, which is about lesbian furries on motorcycles. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that one before. When my modern show-only friends ask me where to start with watching Classic Who, there is a reason I often recommend starting with the 7th Doctor and working backwards, and this serial and season in particular exemplifies why. It's the closest thing Classic Who has to the revival series' grand universe-spanning plots and the Doctor's master schemes, even if the pacing and production quality is a little different. The core of The Curse of Fenric is that zombie vampires from the future are trying to destroy all life on Earth by convincing a World War II British naval base to commit genocidal acts of chemical warfare. Except it's not really actually about that. It's about morality and it's about faith. It's about a British army officer who's so focused on thinking like Nazis do in order to win a hopeless war, hopeless like all wars really are, that he gives himself over to Nazi ideology without even realizing what he's doing. It's about communism being strong enough to make hordes of vampires scream and recoil, just as strong as incredible love for your friends. It's about not knowing whether to love or hate your abusive mother because she's right in front of you, but she's also a literal baby right now, and she hasn't done a single thing to hurt you. Not yet. And most of all, it's about a very, very tense game of chess. The lead up to my favorite scene goes something like this. Through a string of unfortunate incidents and misunderstandings caused by miscommunication, an evil entity from the dawn of time known as Fenric has taken on a human form and, now freed, intends to poison all the world's oceans, because he's the ultimate evil, and why wouldn't he want to destroy the entire Earth? The Doctor, who'd originally trapped and tricked Fenric into a bottle an eternity ago, needs to find a way to trap him again, or at the very least stall him for long enough that he can think up a way to stop him permanently. So he does what the 7th Doctor is best at. He sets up a game of chess the same way he'd beaten Fenric the first time. It worked once after all, and second time's the charm. This still isn't actually my favorite scene, by the way, we're getting there. The Doctor sets up a puzzle game, arranging the chess pieces in a specific configuration, and challenges Fenric to solve it, to find the single winning move. Fenric loves games and can't resist a puzzle like this, but he's not actually so good at them. The chess puzzle absolutely stumps him, and he's stuck staring at it, unable to tear himself away, but still unable to find the right move. Until Ace turns up. Initially, when she glances at the board, she has no idea how to solve it. I mean, why would she? The Doctor set it up himself, and he's obviously the puzzle master here. And besides, she already knows that Fenric is the one in this poor man's body. And even if the Doctor hasn't told her shit about what's going on, telling him would obviously be like the worst decision of all time. So she quite sensibly leaves the room and goes to chat with a couple of communists instead.
We were just pawns in the game, but the pawns are fighting together now. Hey, comrade.
That's it. The solution.
And here's the best scene in Doctor Who. Fenric has switched bodies by now, so Ace now has no idea who she's talking to. So when she re-enters the chess room and he asks her again how to solve the puzzle...
Fenric would never have guessed the solution anyway.
Tell me, Tavarish.
A brilliant move. The black and white pawns don't fight each other. They join forces.
Thank you, child. Ace! Black wins. Time Lord.
I love chess scenes in any form of media because they're invariably one of two things. One, a cleverly constructed metaphor that builds characterization and plot either through the way that the characters interact over the board, the way they play, and or the actual moves they make. Or, two, they're a really quick way to show the audience that the writer has no fucking clue how chess works and that they're just throwing shit at the wall without doing their research. And by the way, this is not how chess fucking works.
The black and white pawns don't fight each other. They join forces.
The pawns unionize, Ace? Excuse me? Setting aside the incredibly heavy-handed metaphor about communism and unity, which was so obviously telegraphed by the previous scene, this isn't how chess works. You fucking idiot. No wonder you didn't pass your exams in high school if you don't understand basic fucking facts about chess. And even if Ace doesn't know how chess works. Fenrir fucking shouldn't be agreeing with her.
Black wins. Time Lord.
And it sure as hell shouldn't be the winning move. It isn't even a legal one. Did I say that this is my favorite scene in Doctor Who? Yeah, I lied. I hate this scene. It's the worst. I just wanted to show it to you so you could hate it too. This video is over. Except. Okay, no, look. I can engage with media on its own terms. I don't need to bring my own knowledge about the rules of chess into this, and I guess, if you think about it, it does kind of make sense. Okay. In this entire serial, Ace is getting increasingly disgruntled about the Doctor keeping her in the dock, and rightfully so. After all, he clearly knows so much more than he's letting on. He didn't just randomly land here in this World War II base, he came here with purpose and intent, and he's refusing to explain any of it. You'd assume that with the professor-student dynamic they've had all this time, he would have taught her how to play chess at some point. Like, it's his entire thing, he's the chess master. The fact that he's so very clearly kept her in the dock about the big game of manipulation and strategy that he's always playing is pretty telling, isn't it? So, Ace doesn't actually know how to play chess at all, and her ignorance of the rules is what almost doomed the world. And if the Doctor had just decided to tell her things and, you know, maybe just sit her down for basic chess 101, none of this would ever have happened in the first place. She's an idiot, sure, but so is the Doctor. Case closed. Video over. Except. Okay. Listen. Interpreting Ace's character like that is doing her a massive disservice, because Ace is smart. She really actually is. And this entire serial goes out of its way to prove it. She casually identifies the complicated chalkboard diagram as a representation of the prisoner's dilemma, and plays with a logic puzzle like it's just a game. Later on, she even more astutely identifies a series of Viking runes as an even more complex logic diagram. This is a girl that's been making portable explosives for fun even before she met the Doctor. Someone who's so smart that, according to a series of unmade episodes and plot summaries, the Doctor was fully intending on sending her to the Gallifreyan Academy so she could unlock her full potential. She's smart as hell, and she's also massively insecure about it if the next scene is anything to go by. The Doctor manages to break her just by poking a finger right into an ancient sore spot. Couldn't even pass that chemistry exam. If she got something as simple as the rules of chess wrong, there has to be a reason for it. Right? Right? And you know what? It actually makes perfect sense when you think about it. Because the pawns unionize is only an absurd move if you've been playing chess like a normal person. Clearly, the only reason why Ace would ever consider a move like this to be the actual solution is if the Doctor has been teaching her to play chess like a madman. I mean, look, he's the Doctor. Normal-ass chess on a 2D board with regular pieces in a single timeline had to have gotten old pretty quickly. He's probably playing 6 games of 5D chess with multiversal time travel at once on his days off, blindfolded and tied upside down just for some fucking mental stimulation. Whatever he's teaching Ace resembles whatever r/anarchy chess has evolved into 5 billion years in the future. Honestly, he should be counting his blessings that Ace only told Fenrir to make the pawns unionize and didn't tell him to, like, assemble all 5 limbs of Exodia the Forbidden One and guillotine the board in half, reducing White's tactical maneuvering space for the remainder of the game. Case closed. 7 Ace are fucking chess lunatics. Video over. Except, okay, look, okay, listen. As much as I like to imagine the Doctor and Ace playing the world's most chaotic chess game while they're not busy setting fire to alien governments or going on increasingly terrible vacations to resolve Ace's psychological issues or possibly, you know, make them worse, we all know that's not what's going on here. It never was any of that. It's a metaphor. It's always been a metaphor. So, alright, let's throw whether or not Ace knows the rules of chess to one side here because it's completely besides the point, and let's, you know, actually engage with the metaphor for a change. It's barely even worth acknowledging that the Doctor's playing white and Fenric's playing black. Fenric is the purest evil there is, and the Doctor is the last force in the universe trying to stop him from breaking out, and even apart from that, the Doctor is the one setting up the board for the puzzle game. Playing white gives you the advantage of going first in any normal game, and why wouldn't he give himself the advantage? He's playing against a god, and the deck is stacked in Fenric's favor every other way. So that makes sense. What about the position itself? I am hardly an expert chess player, and I only know the bare minimum about how to analyze a chess position, but just looking at what the Doctor sets up here, at a glance it's not great for him. The two pawns on the G rank are up against each other, preventing each other from moving, and White's remaining pawns are doubled, and double pawns aren't a great position to have in any normal game. On the other hand, Black's pieces are well defended and pretty much perfectly set up to immediately trade pawns, setting up an opportunity for Black's remaining pawn to make a break for the far side and promote. So that's great for Fenric, but this isn't a game. This is a puzzle. The Doctor challenges Fenric to find a single final winning move from this position. And that's half the trick, because there is no winning move from this position. There are good moves that Black can make, but there's no single move that would earn him checkmate. The only winning move here really is not to play or to cheat. Speaking of which, that's exactly what he suggests here. And it's not just an illegal move that Fenric plays when he realizes. It's an assassination. Ace tells him that the pawns have to work together, which isn't exactly what Fenric does. Instead, he turns the white pawn onto the white king, essentially backstabbing him. It's underhanded, it's devious, it's thoroughly against the rules, and wait, what was Ace so worried about earlier? Being treated as a pawn?
You know what's going on, don't you?
Yes.
You always know. You just can't be bothered to tell anyone. It's like it's some kind of a game and only you know the rules.
That's interesting, because what we find out in the very next scene is that she was Fenric's pawn all along.
What's happened?
The wolves of Fenric. Descendants of the Viking who first buried the flask. All pawns in my game. Dr. Judson, Commander Millington, the Ancient One, Captain Sorin, and now you.
This is a fun little example of a metaphor that feeds back into reality and then back into metaphor again. Ace is stabbing the Doctor in the back here by telling Fenric the solution, even if she never meant to do that, and it takes the form of him realizing that he has to use her representative chess piece, the pawn, to backstab him. Say I hated the scene earlier. I lied. Again, I was telling the truth all along. This really is my favorite Doctor Who scene. The end. Except maybe this isn't my favorite scene. Because as great as all this is, none of it explains why Ace doesn't know the rules of chess. But here's the thing though. It kind of does. Because the Doctor's fucking bad at chess. Specifically the 7th Doctor, he's awful at it. You may be looking at the screen right now and going, wait, no, hang on, that doesn't make sense. 7 is universally known for being the most manipulative Doctor of all time. He's the guy with the chess scene. And to that I say, he's not really good at it though, is he? I'll be honest, this isn't so much a refutation of my previous point as a continuation of it. The Doctor Who books, particularly the Wilderness Years V&As, love to push the idea 7 is darker and edgier, the cosmic chess master who's discarded all semblance of having fun and exploring in favor of winning against his enemies at any cost. In Fenric, Ace complains about the Doctor never telling her what's going on, and the books take this to its logical extreme, sending him deeper into a spiral, plotting and planning until he basically alienates all his friends so thoroughly that even his previous incarnation wants to murder him from the inside out. There is a reason these are some of the grimmest pieces of Doctor Who media all around. We're not here to debate whether this is a good interpretation of his show characterization, though. We're just going to acknowledge that whatever happens in the V&As, however you want to look at it, they do occur after the events of the televised show. And the 7th Doctor, as we see in the television show, he wants to be a Grandmaster Manipulator, but he isn't. Not yet. He wants to be a million steps ahead, poking everything to fall just in the right place, winning wars before they even start. It's why he's constantly, conveniently ending up in all these places that he hates. The Psychic Circus when he viscerally hates clowns, Gabriel Chase, the source of her greatest childhood trauma. He does it on purpose because he thinks he can control whatever's about to go down. But what's the actual plan, both in those episodes and in The Curse of Fenric? Well, there barely seems to be one. He spends most of Fenric scrambling around, muttering under his breath, and frantically playing catch-up as all the pieces fall apart around him. Ironically, the world nearly ends because Ace trusts him too much, so he has to play a last-minute wild card of betraying her in the worst way possible. This is the furthest thing from a smooth, well-oiled plan. He wins, of course he does, but it's not because he planned it well. He's not a good planner, but he's an exceptionally good improviser, which coincidentally is a strength that Ace also shares, but that's a whole other analysis for another time. You know who is a good chess master? The 11th Doctor. I won't lie and say all his plans go off without a hitch because, you know, he's the Doctor no matter how you look at it, and 100% success rate was never on the table, but if you look at every sneaky grand plan involving deception, trickery, and or time travel bullshit the 11th Doctor has tried to pull off and compare it with 7's own plans, they're barely comparable. 11 is good at what he does, and the fact that he doesn't look like Sylvester constantly thinking about Murder McCoy only helps him out here. Matt Smith has a baby face. Look at this guy. How could you possibly accuse him of, I don't know, faking his death at the hands of his wife and using the emotional fallout of his loved ones as a deeply effective smokescreen to prevent anyone realizing what he actually did? Look at his silly little bow tie. Look at his silly little dance. He's just a little guy. Ignore the chessboard motif. Ignore it. By contrast, the 7th Doctor's chess game in the final episode of Curse of Fenric is in the final piece in a brilliant master plan. It's a last-ditch effort to ward a god off, and I'm not even sure he thought it was going to work. He and Ace spend the previous episode frantically scrambling around a military base looking for some chessboard, any chessboard they can use, because it's the only thing the Doctor can think to buy himself a little time. Even up to the last second before Fenric comes in, he's still rearranging the pieces on the board and downing his strategy. Does this look like the face of a man who knows what he's doing? In the Big Finish audio range, 7 ends up facing down against Fenric again, much later. He wants to be ready this time, so he goes to great lengths to set up the confrontation to be just how he wants it to be. He splits his TARDIS in two so that he can live a double life, in order to recruit a small military task force for the upcoming fight. He goes around behind his friends' backs, picking fights with minor gods and trapping them in pocket dimensions. It's an extraordinary amount of effort for what he's convinced will be the fight of his life. And when it comes down to it, none of it actually matters. Everything almost immediately goes to shit. His plans, as carefully thought out as they weren't relevant at all, because he was working underneath several false assumptions, and now those plans mean nothing. He's not a good chess master. He's not even a good chess player. He is, and always has been, improvising frantically in the endgame. If Ace is bad at chess, that's only because she's had the worst chess professor imaginable.
I could always defeat you at chess, Merlin.
Who said anything about playing chess? I'm playing poker. And I have an ace up my sleeve.
For Ace, the winning move is a cheating one, because sometimes when you're backed into an impossible position, all you can really do is cheat and hope it works out. And the Doctor sure isn't above cheating if it means he'll win. It makes total sense that this would be the winning move to the Doctor's impossible chess puzzle, and ironically, the very thing that steps him in the back. I'm done lying. It's my favorite scene. It's a good scene. Except. This is my last except, I promise. Look, let's face it. No matter how you look at it, Ace announcing that the pawns have to work together to win the game is very silly. It's even sillier that Fenric believes her, and it's supremely silly that it actually very nearly works. It's such a dumb scene. That doesn't change the fact that it's still my favorite. It's so quintessentially Doctor Who. It takes something extremely stupid, it plays it the straightest it possibly can, and still manages to make a solid point out of it. Of course Ace thinks the pawns should unionize. Unionizing the pawns is the most Doctor Who thing you could possibly do. Maybe 7 hasn't taught her so badly after all.